last train to nowhere. The train station was empty when I arrived. That should have been my first warning. It was nearly midnight, and the cold crept through my jacket as I sat on the bench, waiting for the last train. A low fog hovered just above the tracks, swirling lazily in the dim yellow glow of the station lights. The air felt wrong, too still. I could hear my own breathing, loud and ragged, echoing off the cracked concrete walls. A loudspeaker crackled to life. The 11:45 train to terminus is now arriving. I glanced around. I was the only one there. I hadn't seen anyone else since I arrived. No passengers, no conductor, not even a stray pigeon. The train rumbled into view, its black silhouette cutting through the fog. It was ancient, far older than any train I'd ever seen. The windows were grimy, the paint peeling, and the metal screeched like it hadn't been oiled in decades. The doors opened with a slow, reluctant hiss. Inside it was dark, too dark to see more than a few feet ahead. I stepped in. The air was stale, thick with the smell of mildew and rust. The floor creaked under my weight. The doors slid shut behind me with a finality that made my heart skip a beat. I turned toward the seats, but they weren't empty. Figures sat slumped in rows, heads bowed, faces hidden in shadow. Their clothes were torn and caked with dust. None of them moved. I swallowed hard and edged down the aisle, the floor groaning beneath my footsteps. "Hello," I whispered. No one answered. The train jolted forward and I nearly lost my balance. Outside the windows, nothing but darkness rushed by. No lights, no landscape, just blackness. The figures remained still. I sat at the very edge of a seat, my body tense. The air seemed heavier, pressing down on my chest. The silence grew oppressive, broken only by the rhythmic clattering of the train wheels. Then I heard it, a whisper. "You shouldn't be here." I jumped to my feet. The figures, they were all looking at me now. Their heads had turned in perfect unison, and their hollow eyes, black and empty, stared right through me. My breath came in shallow gasps. I stumbled backward, my hands brushing something cold and clammy. I turned. A hand, gray, bony, and stiff, clutched my arm. Its grip tightened as a rasping voice whispered, "You took the wrong train." I yanked free, my pulse thundering in my ears. The figures began to rise, their movements jerky and unnatural. I ran. The train swayed violently as I sprinted toward the door. I slammed my hands against it, but it wouldn't open. The whispers grew louder, a chorus of hollow voices. "Stay with us. Stay forever." The last thing I saw before everything went black was a gaping mouth, filled with endless darkness.